Well, good morning, everybody. That is our first start. Let's see how that worked out, huh? Little quiet, trying to figure out the audio sound thing going on here. Can't seem to get that theme song that Josh made for us to connect correctly. So hey, here we are, right? So give me about 5 seconds, and we're gonna make sure that the audio is working, and go from there, right? So let's see what happens. Was working. There we go. So, hey, here we are. Good morning. It is Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. We are Tuesday Talk, presented by Safe 22, hosted by me, Flyboy. And yeah, what a crazy morning already, right? This afternoon, or in about 10 minutes, we got NFL, IHRA leadership team executive Tyler Shinaberry is going to join us. He's going to talk about this weekend's events at Darana Dragway, formerly Dragway 42 in West Salem, Ohio. They're doing a Veterans Appreciation Day on Saturday. And hey, thanks, Undertaker. Appreciate that. I got to remember there's like a 10-second delay between my recording and the going live over here on YouTube. So thanks for that. Andy Carnes, thanks for joining, my friend. Thanks for being here. Today, like I said, we're going to talk about talk with Tyler Shinaberry and the IHRA about this weekend's events. The Nitro Outlaw Series is going to be coming to West Salem, Ohio this weekend. Dragway 42, now known as Darana Dragway. IHRA owner Daryl Cottle and the IHRA have bought Dragway 42. I believe they resurfaced it, or they are resurfacing it, adding some concrete padding, some better pit stalls for people. They do have camping hookups, or camping there, no hookups. Yeah, they're really making an impact in the drag racing world. I'm really glad to see it. We've had a phenomenal. I don't know what word to say. A phenomenal attraction, interaction with the IHRA and their excuse me, their post over this weekend. We actually garnered about 65,000 interactions on our website and our socials. So huge thanks to the IHRA for sharing that. Really don't know what else to say to them except thank you, right, for this opportunity, this platform, this event. I've had over, let's see, he sent me 40 two-pack tickets. I've already gotten rid of those. We've asked for 20 more. We had a corporate partner decide to come on for this weekend. We'll announce that when it's good to go, but they're going to be have a banner and be supporting us for this event this weekend. So thank you to them. As soon as I receive notification that it's final, we'll go ahead and talk about it. But if you're coming out to the track this weekend, you'll definitely see it. So huge thanks to those guys who called me this morning and got that set up. So thank you to them. I want to talk real quick before Tyler comes on at 10:10. We're going to have Tyler on. I want to talk real quick about a movie I saw yesterday. It was called Thunderbolts. It's the latest Marvel movie. If you are not a fan of Marvel or haven't followed the movies, it's okay. You can jump right in. And the reason that this movie was suggested to me is I was having a talk with Goat Locker yesterday, our senior chief, Patrick Drabeck, and he was talking about the Void, who is the character in there at the end, anti-hero / hero at the end. I'm not going to ruin it for you. I'm not going to give you the lines or tell you the plot, but I will tell you that the metaphorical imagery of the void and the depression and the anxiety and how to fight it, they were some pretty spot on cinematic approaches, man. Like really, fighting alone, what that does, the anger and the frustration, what that does, and then what happens when you get a team around you that is just there with you, right? It was incredibly impactful to me. There might have been a little awesomeness come out of my eyeballs at that point, but I think that just makes us human, right? So Kudos to Marvel and the team that put that together. Fantastic, fantastic representation of what depression and PTSD can look like in the eyes of others, right? So I'll give you a challenge. Take about 2 hours, watch this movie, watch it with someone, talk about it, look at the metaphoricals, right? Look at the cinematic value of what they're showing and the graphic representation of depression and anxiety and how they fought it. Man, man, incredible movie. So go ahead and give that a look. Tyler just chimed in here. We're going to bring Tyler in real quick. Tyler is an IHRA leadership team. Tyler and I met about 6 months ago. We ended up having lunch out near Mansfield. We talked about Safe 22 and the IHRA and his involvement. And Tyler, I know you're busy today. You got a meeting out in Mansfield this morning, so we'll try and get maybe about 10 minutes with you if that's okay. So thank you very much for taking time and fitting us in this morning.
Hey, no worries, John. Good to see you this morning.
Good to see you too, buddy. So tell me, man, Daryl is just going full bore on this IHRA thing, man. They are putting out a phenomenal product. I've seen it firsthand. And now the Veterans Appreciation Day that I've seen now at 3 events firsthand. We're doing another one this weekend. Tell me how that came about and why the IHRA is so committed to the Veteran Appreciation on Saturday.
Just real simple. Daryl loves vets. You have a Canadian that came to America. You know exactly what it is. Even with your team, it's it's a love and appreciation for America. Nothing screams America like a bunch of veterans. And as Daryl said, they've already paid enough. So let's get them in at our events for this. Let's help them out how we can. Let's put the spotlight on organizations like yours and use our platform to really build that up.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. It's pretty incredible that it's come out so quick, right? It got so big so fast, and the amount of veterans that come out. Team Fast Tracks is going to be jumping in for the opening ceremonies. Matt Miller, Nicole Condry, that whole entire team. Blue Skies for the good guys, right? They're going to be out there with their truck. I think AJ might be stopping by with the Veterans Ohio Veterans Collaborative. You've really reached out to a lot of veteran organizations to try to grow this thing inside the veteran community. Can you tell me what that looks like on your end? Where do you see this moving forward? And before we go there, I want to be clear. The IHRA allows veterans free access to every IHRA event, correct? Not just the Nitro Outlaw Series.
IHRA national events, we're able to provide to them.
Yeah, and that's really incredible. And I'm not so sure that you're doing a Veterans Appreciation at every national event, but we are definitely doing them at the IHRA Outlaw Nitro Series events. This being the last one in Ohio, the next one coming up in November, I believe it is, Dunn, North Carolina. So really kudos to the IHRA and you and Daryl and the entire team over there for putting that stuff on. Let's talk about this weekend. What's this weekend looking like for the vets? What can they expect?
Oh man, just what you always expect. This is going to be a really intimate location. It's a smaller drag strip. It's new to the family of our tracks that we have. Just a really, really cool place. It's actually where I'm out here for this meeting right now. It's in my backyard. We're meeting here with one of the sponsors, actually one of the sponsors for one of the teams. The Blood Prison up here at the Mansfield, Ohio Reformatory. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of history in this area. There's a lot of things there. People are going to love coming out here. It's out in the middle of the country. It's a very serene area, smaller track. And, it's a really cool shaped track too. It's actually kind of the drag strip sits between kind of like 2 levees types of things. So it has 2 large embankments. And, the second you pull into this track, you kind of feel that warm and fuzzy. You feel like you're there with everybody. I was at a tractor pull the other night and you're up on top of everyone, but there's still space that's in there. And it kind of gives you that, it's really a family feel. It feels like good old school motorsports. And we're really, really excited to have it out here at the West Salem location and bringing that in. People are going to be able to experience what they've always experienced with us, especially on Friday and Saturday when the Pro-Am and the Pro come together. You have the guy who has, a stock or super stock car parked right around the corner from the guy that has a nitro. It's you're going to see everybody and everything. You have about 19 classes. Fuel alders are going to be there. It's just going to be a great event. And the thing that makes this what it is the ability to walk through the pits. and the camaraderie that you see amongst the racers, amongst the family of racers. It's a great place to take your friends, great place to take your family, and just come out and have a good time, enjoy a great show.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what I loved about the IHRA when I think my first event was National Trail earlier this year. National Trail was before Milan, Michigan, right?
Yeah,
The
correct.
first,
Hebron is our first
yeah,
one.
yeah. Yeah, so Hebron, Ohio, formerly National Trail, now Darana. That was pulling in there was like I was a kid again, man. I was a teenager coming back, and we see all these stock, super stocks, pro stocks, all the grassroots guys, right? That just bring their buddies and a couple packs of burgers and dogs and an open trailer and bring the car down and are just wrenching in the grass and having a great damn time the whole weekend. The big boys come in, you got some nitro guys with the nitro funny cars, the nitro dragsters, nitro Harley as well. I think the first nitro Harley event we had, there was maybe 4 bikes. I think the last one was 8 or 10. I mean, it was amazing the draw that we're getting.
Oh, it's huge. And like you said, it's the environment. Wednesday and Thursday we have a pro-am race that goes on. Friday and Saturday we have a pro-am pro race. And I think it's that camaraderie. It's that feeling, everybody's together. And it's kind of like you always say with the military, it's what AJ always said, everybody comes in, we all come in looking the same, everybody that, joins in there. And that's one of the things that we really appreciate about it is it lines up with our mentality. I always tell people, I say, guys, we're a very blue collar professional organization. It's not bureaucratic. It's not this, it's not that. You're going to see Daryl driving around on his tractor, delivering the
Yep.
ice in the
Yep.
morning. And, just stay out of the way when that's going on. If you're out there moving around, it happens.
Yeah, look out for him, man.
But it's just one of those things. It's like we're there to do we're there to serve, we're there to help everybody have a great time. And for me, it's just what you guys are doing there with Save 22 and bringing in motorsports. I'm often found saying these words to people, and this is the best motorsports has to offer. This is what it's all about. And it's about that family feel. It's about that friendship. It's about people competing in an arena. And we have the privilege of bringing that arena to the racers, to the fans, and now expanding even further into the communities. And as we start to build up these, I guess you would say, we're going to be building up educational packages, going into schools, helping communities out, to have something to connect with the student. It's just growing and growing and growing. And it really is the best of what motorsports has to offer. Just like, you asked me, what does the military have to offer? It's the best America has to offer. It's it's sacrifice, it's service, it's the families that stay at home, and have to basically serve alongside their loved one while they're deployed or while they're away, whatever they're going through. And that's why we really like adding that added benefit with Save 22, where, we can give that extra ticket or make sure that the family is able to attend so that our veteran or active military personnel don't have to attend alone.
Yeah, I want to be very clear with my gratitude and Save 22's gratitude and appreciation to the IHRA for allowing us to do that. Any veteran can get in free at any IHRA event, national event. But if you email motorsports right down here at the bottom of the screen, motorsports@save22.vet, and prove that you're a veteran, you know what? I'll give you 2 tickets. We'll give you 2 tickets. And that's because of the IHRA and their commitment to getting veterans and their families in. You've given us at Save 22 liberty at giving out those passes. So thank you for that. You're growing our presence, right? You're getting us an email group listing for us to reach out more with more things, more news, more events, right? Spreading that awareness. The VA is not the only place for a veteran to go. There's plenty of other opportunities out there. You and I talked at the beginning. I got a gnat problem today.
Great catch.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying. I'll take care of it after the show. But we talk about just being able to be there, right? Just show up. And so many people have contributed to trying to make an environment there at the IHRA for an easier weekend, I guess you'd say, for the racers and the fans. Some of the things that the IHRA has done is free Wi-Fi for the racers in the pits, right? Free ice delivery. You've got some people running around when we were down in Hebron, it's 100+ degrees outside and we never ran out of ice. Your team was adamant about making sure that people stayed hydrated, that they had enough ice for their drinks, for their coolings. You had medical people on site with salt tablets and chips to get the salt and the pickle juices. And man, it was just really incredible to see that IHRA, while you can't think of everything, you sure have thought of a lot. Really, you have. And kudos to you and the IHRA and Daryl, and thank you for all of that. The little stuff that makes things just a little bit easier for the teams and the spectators. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And I think that's what this really all just kind of flows into is, people always ask, what's Darana? What is Darana? And we tell them, Darana is a construction company. And, that's how Daryl treats his employees. And when they're out there on these large job sites, this is a job site to him when he shows up there. It's the same exact thing. It's just we're having a little bit more fun. We aren't wiring stuff up or building a conveyor system. We're just racing cars.
Right. So, we're just racing cars, man.
And having fun. So, we're able to bring things that other people maybe wouldn't think about, unless they've been out there and, something of that size. My favorite classes that are out there, our affinity towards your team, we want to get to know the people. I was just thinking about it this morning. I definitely have time for you here. I can talk to you because we don't have this till 11 o'clock, but
oh, awesome.
So one of the things, that's actually a whole story in and of itself. That's a really good story, but the whole thing for us is I try and go out in the mornings before things get too hectic and go and talk to racers. And, during the day, we talk to fans. I said my favorite occurrence that happens is when I'm running around 100 miles an hour trying to run one thing to the other side, and somebody grabs me and thinks I'm a courtesy cart and, needs a ride.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing. I don't care. I'm like, they're like, Tyler, you got to get back here and you got to post this. And I go, no, I don't. I said, I'm going to go take this family out. And you get to hear the kids' excitement. You get to hear how the family's excited. It's their first time out there. I go, that to me is my favorite thing. And my other favorite thing is going out there and talking to the racers in the morning. And the thing that's really cool is they don't talk about their car. They don't talk about their car. I mean, that's maybe 10%. They're excited for the day. I'm like gawking over it, looking to see what's going underneath the hood. It's about, they want to talk about their family. They want to talk about their dog. And, if they have a dog, I'm all over it. We just started the dogs of IHRA for a reason. Bring me your dog. I want to see him. Krista Baldwin has it best. Live fast, pet dogs. That's what we got.
Lex and Gerda got Max the Schnauzer in the house. In the trailer after Max Verstappen. They're from the Netherlands.
Oh yeah.
So it's always a great time. Max is great. I love having Max around. I had a Schnauzer as a kid growing up. He reminds me a lot of that, And
it's funny because that's what people want to talk about, and then once they get up there to the line, it's, all eyes are down the track. And it's just a really, really cool dynamic. And I think it's something that the youth of the world don't see enough of. They don't see, that, I always tell people, there's a lot of stuff that gets said, about the differences in the different organizations and this and that. And I joke with people. I said, every single person here is a professional of what they do. If you show up and you walk through those gates and you pay the entry fee, you've completed 90% of the task. It's a lot.
You showed up.
You showed up. And, and I've actually had racers that come up and it's like, man, we died before we even got to the line. We're so embarrassed. And and they're like, why are you showing us the same love that you show everybody else? And we're like, why wouldn't we? You showed up. And, I love the fact that you mentioned that because that is what's really, really important about this. We look at every single person in our membership list. I look at them, regularly. I answer license and membership in the info box. And, we get to know these people.
Yeah, you do. And you do. When we're down there in those pits, man, it's a family. We walk over to Del Worsham across the pit lane and like, hey man, I need some 550 quarter, hey, can you help me with this? Or, Scott Palmer showed up a couple weeks ago and I think we had to race Scott in the final somewhere.
Yeah.
And his crew came over and was helping us put the car together. We got to race this guy and they're over here helping us put the car together. It's
just like the military, man. That's why I love, as somebody who's not a veteran myself, is just a champion for veterans. That's what you love, and it's like AJ always says, and, AJ, bringing me in with the Ohio Veterans Collaborative to be a part of his mission is just, it's an honor and a privilege. And, some of the things he says, and it's that family, it's that group, it's that finding the success outside of the uniform. And, every time I walk around the pits, that's all I think about. I think about Save 22's mission. I see people wearing that uniform, finding a mission, finding a purpose. We all have a common cause. Our team has a common cause to provide the arena for you guys to race in and have a great time. Ensure it's safe, ensure it's professional, ensure it's clean, and get the right information out at the right times. That's our challenge. That's our burden to wear. We want you guys to be able to come out, do what you do, and do what you love. Bring the car out, repair the car, turn it around, and bring it right down the track again. Nobody wants to win when the other person's not at their best. You want to beat the other person at their best, not their worst.
Yeah, I don't want you to break and not show up at the line. I want you to come to the line. If you can make it to the line, the race is on, right? Yep. I don't want to have to just get a bye run down in there. And Lex will tell you the same thing, hanging out with Lex. That dude and his never quit. The man is 67 years old and he is still racing.
He can think Gerda keeps him young.
I think Gerda would stop before Lex would, right? But you know what? Lex always says it's less about the racing nowadays. It's less about winning, and it's more about showing people to never quit, right? That man had a dream to drag race, and he won everything there was to win in Europe. He was a FIA champion. He was a European champion, top speed, fastest Dutchman. He's got all these accolades, and he said, I want to do more. I want to go with the big boys. And he packed everything up and came over to the States. And he had been trying for 15 years, and he had a team for, I think it was 5 or 7 years until he finally won up in Michigan. His
17
first
years, I believe.
Yeah. It just in between race wins, right? Just don't quit. Right. And you can come by the pits and look, we got cylinder heads that got holes in them. We blew up a blower. We, shred a belt, whatever it is. And they just keep going. It's so easy to get down. Like, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. But that's not the case, right? The case is this is racing and things happen, and you need it to go together good for 4 seconds. But you've got that week prior, that preparation, you've got the tunings, you've got weather variables, you've got, part malfunctions, you've got new people, you've got old people coming back. You've got all these variables for these guys, and they just don't quit. And half of Lex's team are veterans. You got Steve that was a Marine, or is a Marine. You're never not a Marine, I guess. I don't want to make anybody upset with that one. Rick Chavez, a former first sergeant in the Air Force. Jesse Freeman, an Army guy who deployed multiple times. Those are the 3 that I remember right off the top of my head. And, they're just there to be part of something. And I've talked about it a lot with you, where that's what I struggled with. I didn't know what I could be a part of anymore when I left the military. I still had a full-time job. I was married. I had 3 kids. Things were going good. And then bam, all of a sudden, I'm not good. I am not good for anybody. I hate the world. I don't want to leave my house. Everything is an argument. The world is just against me. And one day that all changed simply by going out to a race. It took some doing. It took some pushing, right? I had to be nudged, I guess you'd say, to leave that shell, right? To force myself to go be uncomfortable and enjoy something that I used to enjoy as a kid and, a young adult when I was racing out west and things. It changed me. It changed my life. It changed my perspective, right? Yeah, I'm getting vapor lock on that because I'm getting a little emo remembering that time.
It's like you said, you have to show up.
You got to show up.
You got
to show up to life. You got to show up to life, man. You can't sit here and judge everything else from a picture or your phone or what somebody else tells you. You got to go out and experience it yourself. And while my experience might not relate to yours, I'll bet you that some of the emotions do, right? The lack of whatever I'm missing, the feelings of, we'll just call it what it is. I'm no good for anybody anymore, right? I don't have my mission. I don't have my bros. I'm not kicking indoors. I'm not flying, around at 19,000 feet. I'm not going Mach 2 with my hair on fire, which that doesn't happen in a C-130. And if it does, you got bigger problems. But, just getting out, right, and being able to talk with people with similar interests, that I think is what is paramount, right? Whether it's golf or bowling or smoking meats, racing cars, whatever it is, you got to go back and find that camaraderie, right? And if you're still able to compete and you want to compete, hey, you need to go to compete for something, whatever it is, man. You got to give it a shot, right? Don't quit too early. That's a big one with us now, right? Just one more day. Don't quit yet. Give it one more day and see what happens. Yeah. So, hey, thank you for that. Tell me about the plans for 2026. I noticed that the Nitro Outlaw Series came out with a 12 event schedule for next year. Is that right? 12 events?
10. I think it's 10 on there.
Is it 10?
Yeah.
We don't have the calendar dates yet, but we do have locations, right?
We have dates, but not locations. We're backwards.
We have dates, but not locations. Okay, great. Any idea when that info will be coming out?
Shortly. That's typically how it is.
No, thanks.
Working it all out. There's a lot to putting together a schedule. I always tell people it's kind of funny, you know. It's a unique thing, you know. We have tracks and we have the association side. So there's a lot of different facets that come into play on that. So as soon as the guys have that out, we'll be throwing that out there to the world. So that's going to be fun, you know, and it's
awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, we can't either, you know, and the racers are asking, and I think it kind of adds to that, you know, mysteria effect of, you know, it's like everybody's still focused in on this season, but I love the fact that they're looking to next season.
Oh yeah. I had a guy email me this morning that said, hey, any chance you guys are going to run a street stock bikes series? And I'm like, dude, I'm not a IHRA guy. I'm the Safe 22 veteran guy. Like, I don't know what IHRA is doing, but I told him
a lot. And a lot of people, you know, they get it's almost like people get their feelings hurt when it's not their class. And, you know, I almost love that, you know, it's, you know, I get to answer a lot of info box emails. I do a lot from my cell phone. So if anybody ever sees any mistakes, that's why I'm on my cell phone when I'm doing it typically. But it's real talk. You know, I get a lot on the bikes, and it's like, guys, we have 19 classes already in the Nitro series. You know, we have, you know, it's hard to squeeze in 18 classes. We're trying to serve, you know, a large group. It's a good fit. But what we want people to realize is, hey, you know what? Maybe this will stem off into other opportunities, or maybe there's other strips, because as a sanctioning body holder, you know, we are the sanctioning body. So it's, hey, you know what? If 8 of these tracks that are underneath of our sanction say, hey, you know what? There's a place for this. Let's do a circuit, or let's do a series. We want them to realize that there's so much opportunity, and these local tracks are where they can find it too. So we have a lot to juggle. You know, you're on an international face, which creates national events. And then on top of that, you know, like right now, I think we're 39 tracks. So we're trying to support the 39 tracks that we represent as well too, especially for local grassroots racing, which is really the backbone behind all of it. You know, that is where it's into.
It is, you know, the grassroots thing, you know, that's what Save 22 started as too, a grassroots. We're going to start right here in our own backyard and just say, hey, we're going to raise this awareness. And I think that's how things get started. That's how things grow and mature, right? There's only 16 top fuel in the NHRA. There's only 16, right? Yeah. So there's not 16, or IHRA is running 8, I think, in the class, right? 8.
Yeah, we got
8 for the eliminations.
8
car field for eliminations. NHRA is 16. So you're talking 25. Let's just call it 25. There are 25 of the best in the entire country. So we're not going to cater to them. We want the grassroots guy, the little guy that's working the stuff in the garage with his son, and his buddy comes over and, you know, they down a 6-pack and as they're putting the car together in time, and you want to bring those guys in.
Well, it's even more than that. You know, I think it's a challenge that you guys could set with Save 22. It's the same challenge that I've set out there with, you know, some of these guys. Is you hear the drag racing's dead, and I go, no, the kids are just doing it on the street. You know, they're doing it at Best Buy, or they're doing it in the middle of a street, and they're getting arrested for it. And I said, just because you guys haven't made them feel welcome. And they're like, well, what do you mean? And I go, well, you know, I'm not saying everybody's that way, but I'm just saying, you know, who do you bring out? Well, I bring out my nephew, or I bring out my son, or I bring this out, or I bring that out. And it's like, guys, I need you to bring out somebody who you don't know, you know, to come out and participate in this. Or, you know, hey, you know what, that veteran who's down the street that, you know, I hate to use the word struggling, but, you know, let's face it, that's what it is. You know, that one
that's what it is,
yearning to reach out for somebody and looking for that. You don't have to have a Nitro team to reach out to them. Go down to the VFW hall and say, hey, I need some help on my car this weekend. Do you want to come sit in the garage watch IHRA.TV up on the screen and wrench, and then we go out to the track on Saturday or Sunday, they're going to load up. That's how it works. And even
It
going to the
is.
BMW discussion, we had, I think at Milan, we had a catering issue. There were some numbers that were off because we were expecting a group to come in early, and we had 60 meals left over. And it's like, oh, you can't provide this, you can't provide that, you can't give it to a shelter. We had no problem making sure it got in the hands of veterans. Veterans were right there, ready to show up, and they were like, oh, and it's like, so we were able to help that agency, and we're able to help, people come in. It's like, hey, come in here, grab a meal, and do what you want to do. Come to the race. So there's ways of being able to do this that people don't realize. You don't have to be a nitro team to provide the same opportunity that Lex is providing. You can provide out of your F-150 in an enclosed trailer on a Saturday.
Sure can. Let's talk about Mike Harmon in NASCAR. Mike Harmon's been a partner of Safe 22 for about 10, 11 years now. And the man drives a 1-ton truck with a car hauler behind him, and he shows up and goes racing. And that man opens up everything for us, and gives the veterans and first responders that we bring an opportunity to see something that the majority of the country is never going to get to experience right up front. And the same thing happens in the IHRA. And what makes the IHRA so unique is you are right here with us, right? You are there. There's literally just one of those bank line formers that block off the pits from the spectators, and the drivers come up and they talk to the people, and the crews come up and they share interactions and stories. And I got an email from a mother whose son is interning with a team who would like to come to the race. Like, that's what you were saying. That's how we get them out, right? Let's get them out and in something that you might not have ever done before, and just experience something that you're going to have a good time with. There's something to be said about 12, 13,000 horsepower burning some nitromethane, burning your eyes, man. There's something about that,
Well, it's like I told somebody, I said, these kids, a lot of these kids are just happy seeing a street stock. They're happy seeing that. It's cool to see the big stuff, but the opportunities that are in your own backyard, or the ability to show a kid, hey, I'm going to teach you how to change plugs in my rod on the weekend. You're teaching life lessons, and you're pulling that, and who knows, maybe you're going to break through somebody that is feeling like, hey, nobody cares about me. I said an interesting fact. I can't remember what the exact numbers were. We heard this years ago. This was pre-COVID, but it's something like the average family spends less than 10 minutes a week. Kid receives less than 10 minutes of meaningful conversation from their parent. And I'll never forget, I was in a situation where I was talking with a whole bunch of older guys, and some were veterans, and it was a really disappointing conversation. It was coffee talk. And I said, why don't you guys go volunteer at the local school? And they go, well, why would I do that? And I'm like, well, I said, you can get in there, talk with them, have coffee with them instead of sitting here and, talking with your peers. Get out there and, maybe talk with these students. Well, why would I do that? And I'm like, well, I said, they're looking for help. They're looking for somebody to talk to. So maybe they can help you with their phone. Maybe they can help you understand something that you don't know, and you can help them understand that. And the response from the guy, though, that started all this was, they said, oh, these kids don't have dads. I was like, well, how's that their fault?
It's not their fault, kiddo.
Exactly. I'm like, this kid doesn't have it. You have an opportunity that you could be a father figure or a grandfather figure, for somebody, and be able to do that. And it was just shocking to me, the response. It was like, oh, well, that's not my problem. And it's like, no, it is our problem, because you're complaining about how the kids are behaving in your community, or misbehaving, I should say. You have an opportunity to stand up. And it's the same exact thing with a veteran. Is, everybody wants to talk about, oh, there's 22, the 22, which is, probably even more than that.
Right.
And it's like, what are you doing about it? And they're like, well, I don't even know where I would start. It's simple.
Come on out.
It's saying hi.
Simple.
Show up.
It is saying hi. Show up.
Show up. That's all you have to do. That's 90% of the battle.
That's it. It is 90% of the battle. And you got to do that for yourself every day, right? You have to. I don't even know if you sleep. Some of the emails I get from you are 2:00 in the morning, 5:00 in the morning, 9:00 at night, 3 PM. Like, I don't know when you do it, but you're definitely committed to yourself, right? And doing what you need to do to make yourself better. And I think so many of us forgot that, right? We forgot that we were disciplined. We were showing up every day. We had something to believe in. And we need to believe in ourselves now that we're out, right? So let's believe in ourselves. Let's make ourselves have a great day, regardless of what happens to us. And when we get back into the house, let's regroup. That's our recovery time. All right, let's recover, and let's make a plan for tomorrow, and then let's keep going and making sure that we make ourselves okay, right? I am no good for anybody. I just wrote this down. I used to journal a lot because my brain was just 1,000 miles an hour all the time. And I happened to read something this morning, and if you don't mind, I'll share it with you real quick, because we're talking about the getting out in the family and all those things. And this is from 4 years ago in March. My anxiety is not fair to Trisha and Tiffany. That's my wife and my daughter. My anxiety took away mother-daughter time, took away time from Trisha to be with her daughter, and it also put me in a severely depressed, unhappy, and disappointed in myself mood for the next several hours. I could not smile, laugh, or enjoy anything the rest of the evening. We get locked, right? We get locked into an emotion. We get locked into a feeling, and we think we ruined it, right? And while that might be the case, it's not always true, right? We have to be able to remove ourselves from ourselves and say a couple things. One, what did I do to contribute to the situation? What am I doing to make it better? And what am I doing to make it worse? So come on out, hang out, and have a good time. And maybe we can solve some of that stuff. Our shirt says struggling, let's talk. It doesn't have to be about suicide and PTSD. It can be about anything, right? If you're holding that stuff in because you think nobody's going to listen to you, bro, you got it all wrong, right? Like, there's plenty of people that want to hold on to you and help you and give you that hand up and get out there and mentor, right? Be the lesson for somebody else. There's plenty of that available out there. And I have yet to meet anybody inside the IHRA that told me, get lost, kid, I'm busy, right? I haven't heard that yet. And it's just a great family, a phenomenal opportunity. I love what you guys are doing. The behind the scenes stuff, the stuff that nobody sees, is absolutely incredible. And I wish the IHRA, Daryl, and you and the entire team nothing but more success, continued success coming in 2026. Can you tell me how people can tune in if you're not coming to the race? How can they tune in and see this stuff? I know that the IHRA has a streaming platform. Can you talk about that real quick?
Yeah, so there's two different ways. Speed Sport, has us out there on Speed Sport 1. So if you have an Amazon device, Roku, couple of Pluto, a couple of those other ones out there, it's on there and it's live, for Friday night. But one of the things
it's free too, right?
Yes, it's all free. It shows up right
there
on
you
your
go.
phone, ready to go.
Yep, sure does.
The thing you can also tune into that makes this really cool is that we stream from the moment that we start racing, and even a little bit before, so you can kind of see what's going on at the track. So you can do that on IHRA.tv. That's direct link. We'll send you right to the YouTube page, right with whatever's up there, like active at the moment, live. So you don't have to worry about typing in and searching. So just IHRA.tv takes you right to there. We have commentary running. We have some people moderating that. So it's a great way to talk with people that are like-minded and have similar interests. It's a lot of fun.
There's plenty of community out there, some phenomenal pictures, some great footage. You even got journalists running around the pits, interviewing teams and people and spectators. And I really love the fact that you're bringing, the family environment to it, right? Great job again. I just keep kissing your ass this morning. So
yeah, man, you got to
see it.
We always tell people, so we want the criticism. We want the constructive criticism. We're always trying to find ways to improve, construction background, grounded company at Darana. So, it's,
troubleshooting. You're always looking for what I can fix. What can I make better?
Yep. How do we improve? And that's one of the things that we really are always looking at, as an organization. And, when you think about just how many months have actually been here, this really started coming into with the current leadership team and really setting the stone was just in May, and, we know the racers, they've stuck with us too. The racers have stuck with us. The fans have stuck with us. People have believed in us. So it's not just, the teams that are out there doing it. We have to do it too. We have to show up. And, we all have.
So do the fans.
Yeah.
So do the fans. If the fans ain't showing up, if the racers aren't showing up, you ain't going to have an IHRA. So you know what? I think you got a great business model there, keeping the racers and the spectators happy. and listening.
Yeah, that's the key is, 2 ears, 1 mouth, and you have to let
Yeah.
it speak for itself, and put on great races. And, we can't put on great races without great racers. And the pits are just as important as that, and we start to see these guys really open up their pits and, have the
Hmm.
conversations. I like to see the girls going up to, the Camrys and Gerda and stuff like that. They see other women in a field and they're just like, whoa, I have to do it. I even had my aha moment. I've been gone for 3 weeks, I think. I hadn't seen my friends' kids, and stopped in there, and they go, "Oh my gosh, what have you done to them?" I said, "What do you mean?" They said, "They're car nuts." The kid wants a motorcycle, wants this, and like arguing over a GT 500 or a 718. Porsche is more, is better looking, and I'm going, "Oh my gosh, these are kids I never thought would be into cars that now they are because they got the bug."
Heck yeah. Give them
And it's
something to look forward to, man. Something to
you
dream,
hit it.
something to chase.
You said it a few minutes ago. I don't know if you caught what your own message was, but you slipped up in what you said, and
Oh, did I?
you said it has to be something to believe in, and that's that piece. You have to believe in what you're going to in order to want to show up. And I was
Yeah.
always I have a very dear friend of mine that's here in Central Ohio. The guy's a car dealer, amazing man, named Bruce Daniels, and we were sitting there talking, and we were going back and forth. Has a round table. Everybody's sitting around. It's like, how do we help veterans? How do we get rid of heroin? How do we get rid of homelessness? How do we do all this? And of course, I go back into engineer mode, mentally,
Yeah.
and it's me, it's root cause solution. And I said, I think after our conversation, I said, I think we figured it out. It's hope. Everything stems back from lack of hope. It's hopelessness. We have to end hopelessness. And I said, but there's two parts to hope. And I said, this is what the problem is. And you said it so eloquently in your own story is you have to have hope and you have to have opportunity. And the funny thing is the two have to be completely within balance of one another. If I don't have opportunity and if you give me an opportunity, but I have no hope, I'm not going to grasp that opportunity. If you give me hope and there's no opportunity to back up that hope, I'm going to fall right back down the slide again. So we have
Yep.
to work in tandem and provide the two together. And that's what you guys are doing right there at Save 22. It's, hey, you know what? You're struggling. I get it. We're all struggling. Everybody's struggling in some way,
Everybody.
shape, or form, no matter what it is. It's okay. But I'm going to show you an opportunity to be able to do something. And we're going to restore that hope. You guys are
Mhm.
walking the walk and, talking the talk. And, it's that never quit mentality. But sometimes, you just have to give a little bit of those two things.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. I'm reminded of a SEER instructor back in the day when we went to survival school. We walked in on day one, and he wrote 30, 3, and 1 on the board. And he went through his hour-long spiel, and he said, does anybody know what these numbers are for? Why did I write these up here? And of course, none of us did, right? And I'm going through as an old guy, right? I'm 18 years in the service. Everybody else is 1 and 2 stripers or butter bars, young 22, 24-year-old kids. I'm the old guy. Just letting them talk, let them do their thing. And I had no idea what these numbers were for. And he said, you can live 30 days without food. You can live 3 days without water. You cannot survive 1 minute without hope. And that was what they told us right there at survival school before they throw you out into the woods for 6 days and hope you don't get caught, right? So you have to believe that, right? You have to believe that there is hope. That's where your own commitment to yourself to be better in some capacity has to kick in. I know that I can do this. It sucks right now, but you have to choose your hard, right? Choose your hard. What if it's that hard? It's probably worth it. It's probably worth it, right? So come on out, man. Come on out. Have a good time. Smile. Have some food. Save 22 is going to provide meals for the team. The Let's Do Never Quit Nitro Army on Friday. I think I'm bringing the lunch stuff for those guys. Something else just hit me right there too. Weather. It's Ohio. It's September. We could be 90 degrees. We could be 55 cloudy in a storm. What is the IHRA's plan for weather? What's their emergency backup plan this weekend?
Well, I mean, Daryl's pretty good at stuff, but we still haven't figured out how to control the weather yet. We're working on it. Backup strategy is pretty much the same. It is what it always is you push out a day. If anything does happen, we push out a day. We don't use the R word. It's really, really bad. We don't think about it. We don't look at it. We don't
Nope.
have anything to do with it. But, we always just push out a day if something does happen. So people go, oh, I have a Friday ticket. And I go, well, your Friday becomes Saturday. That's all that happens.
Absolutely.
Friday or Thursday becomes that. We would adjust probably, because when the pros are in town, Friday and Saturday are kind of our solid days. So we always work around that. So, keep up with us on social media. We'll make announcements directly there. It's our fastest way to reach people. We have a pretty large Facebook following.
Do.
That's the way to put it out there. And, that's how we keep everything up to date. And yeah, we're just going to be praying for the best weather we can get.
Absolutely. When are you going to be down at the drag strip? You coming in on Thursday?
No, I'll be there. I'll be there in probably about an hour and a half. Yeah, we actually have a pretty cool story here right now. It's talking about some of our cool people and the things that happen is living in this area. Anybody's familiar with the Shawshank Redemption? There's Mansfield has the Ohio State Reformatory, and we're going to meet with the guys that throw the blood prison out here. It's a pretty cool event, very well known in Ohio, and they're sponsoring the nitro cars. They're they're a sponsor that's in there. They're going to do their small part, in building up this team. And that's why we're here. It's like, hey guys, we want to tell the stories of what it is. I know what goes on in here. I'm on a board of a small museum within the museum here. And it's like, hey, any way that we can help good causes get some traction. And they're out there advertising on these cars. People don't realize how important these sponsors are. And people see these sponsors. These sponsors are part of the race teams. And it's like, how cool is that? You have a haunted prison is sponsoring one of the cars, here locally. And, for us, it gives us a story to tell also because it's,
right.
Hey, you know what? The drag strip is 30 minutes away from a world known historical marker. And, going back to the family, okay, hey, honey, let's come out to Mansfield 10 o'clock in the morning. The kids can ride a carousel. We're going to tour the museum. And, they have a great race that starts at 2 or 3 o'clock. It becomes a family day. So we really also want to accentuate the communities that we're part of and those types of things. So, how cool is it, that one of the communities is actually sponsoring one of our cars. So we get a very unique way of pushing two things that you would never expect to come together. So we're retelling that story this week too.
That's awesome. And there's going to be radio time, live radio broadcast right there at the track. You can tune in at the track for the radio broadcast, correct?
Ooh, yeah, we're going to have 2 shows coming on live on Saturday. So I said, you guys do realize how loud this is, right? And they're like, we're fine with that. And, Boots is a fun show. We love Boots. He's a great guy. Does a lot for our flight, does a lot for our vets and for first responders and Leo. I mean, it's just I think that's one of the things that we forget is the world's loud. The world is extremely loud, but there's a lot of really good people. And like you said earlier, good people tend to gravitate and hang out with each other. I'll never forget AJ explaining some things to me. And, one of the things was, he says, when we're in the military and we go out at night, he said, you might have somebody that is from the deepest parts of the inner city and comes in, baggy pants, this and that, ready to go out for town, chains on, ready to go out and have a good time, standing right next to the most completely country guy, boots, this and that. And they all go out together. It's this hodgepodge and this melting group of people that come from completely different cultures, but they all share one point. They have something that they believe in together, and they're family. And, and I love what he always said. He says, but when you take them out of that element, now they're afraid. And he goes, and when a veteran comes out into the workforce or comes into that, a veteran is taught, you're a gear. You're not the Rolex. And that becomes a very, very difficult thing. And, and when you come out to these tracks and you see how these things get torn apart, how they get put back together, you see how the person who's jacking is just as important as the guy that's pulling the heads or, the guy that's putting the magneto back together. Everybody serves a position. And if one person doesn't do their job right, it's critical failure.
Absolutely. Cleaning parts, right? Getting them out of the way for the guys around the car to do what they need to do, setting up tools properly, right, where they can reach them and access them with the minimum amount of delay in doing that, cleaning the parts, getting them ready, handing parts in, setting tire pressures, adjusting the wings, packing the chutes. Gerda constantly monitoring the weather in her tune-up, right? They've got a base tune-up that they play with now and again. They have a great run that they modify and they play with, and just the amount of effort from everybody that goes into tuning a car to make 1 4-second run is absolutely incredible. And I think when the guys get out there and they see it, they understand, right? They feel like they're part of it again. We're getting close to your 11 o'clock meeting. I can't wait to see you this weekend. I'm excited to see the blood prison on the car this weekend. I'm excited to talk to those guys. Really excited to see Matt Miller and Nicole Condry and the team Fast Tracks Blue Skies with the for good guys and girls. They're going to be hanging out with us in the pits as well. Awesome. I think Disco Dean's coming with his car too. I think the Caddy's the one coming on the road this year, this week.
Right there.
Yeah, I think so too. There's a lot of the littler guys, the smaller street stocks, super stocks, alcohol, top alcohol, all these classes. I have no idea what they do, but what is really fun is seeing what some of these guys have put together and watch them drive down the pit lane and get into the staging lanes. And you're just like, man, I remember having one of those, or I can't believe somebody put a big block in that thing, or, I wonder what this guy's running. And it's just going to be a great time. And again, Save 22 cannot say thank you enough to the IHRA for the awareness that you've been giving, not only us, but the entire veteran community, and how important our mental health is to everyday existence. So thank you very much for that, Tyler. Thank you for taking the time. Say hello to Daryl for me, and I'll be sure to see you guys this weekend.
Wonderful. Thanks, John. We'll see you guys in the whole.
Thanks, buddy.
The whole Nitro Army.
The Never Quit Nitro Army is going to be there in force, my friend. We're looking to take one on this team this year, man. Let's go get another one.
All right. Safe travel, guys. We'll see you soon.
See you, buddy. So that was Tyler Shinaberry with the IHRA. Great conversation with why the IHRA does what it does with its veterans, and some real personal stuff in there too about struggle and getting back and being part of a team. And I see you guys on here now, so let me get to a couple of these comments real quick. Whiskey Pete, my brother, how are you, man? You got to ride the triple nickel this past weekend. I saw you and Bobby Joe there, man. What an experience for you. Happy for you. Glad you made it back. Who else is on here? Senior Chief, my man. You missed it, brother. I talked about the movie you recommended yesterday, Thunderbolts. I talked about The Void. I talked about how it drags you in and just keeps getting darker and darker the harder you fight alone. You definitely need that team around you, as we talked about. So go out there and watch that movie, Thunderbolts. It's really a great analogy for mental health. So thank you for that. Steve Plazo, show up to life. Yeah, man, I told you, you can't sit. You cannot sit and wait for life to happen, because if you do that, that's all you're going to do. You're just going to sit and wait. You got to go out and get it, right? What is it? What do you want to do? Do you want to whittle in your garage? Do you want to cut trees down for a living? Do you want to bake cakes? I don't care. Whatever it is, you need to do it with all the passion and vigor and commitment of the third monkey trying to get on the ark, right? You got to do it. You've got to give everything you have to what you're trying to accomplish. That's not saying run yourself ragged. That's not saying go 22 hours a day, sleep 2 hours, get up and, slam 6 monsters and go attack the day. No, it's everything, right? When we were in the service, when I was in the service, I'll talk about that real quick. When I was in, everything had a schedule, right? And I realized when I would deploy, I had a pattern, right? I had a routine to get to bed, to get up, and to get to work, right? We stayed in 5 or 6 man tents, four to 6 man tents, I think it was, most of my deployments back in the day. And you got guys from different shifts, different jobs, all the same unit, but we're all running different schedules, right? So you have to figure out how to adjust, and you do it. You take days off if you get them, and you clean up your room, you do your laundry, you get yourself a haircut, you Go hang out with the guys, you play around the golf, you get on the Xbox, PlayStation, whatever, right? That's your recovery time. That's your, I'm not thinking about life and death right now time. And when we get out, we forget that. We forget that we had a schedule to go to bed. We had a routine to get up in the morning to make ourselves ready, to prepare ourselves. And I think that's what happened to me. I forgot about that part of it, right? That I am a detail oriented individual, that I do like schedules. I fought for so long I don't like your schedule. I don't want to be on a schedule. I don't want to do that. I want random stuff. I want things to happen this way. Well, when you do that, when I did that, things got cluttered. Things got very confusing, very foggy. I didn't know really what I was doing. I have to make a plan, right? Now, I don't plan out a month ahead, right? I don't think about a month ahead. It's one day at a time, like for real, legit, one day at a time. You can't focus on what is going to happen in a week, right? And the what ifs and the extreme thinking and the what if this doesn't work or what if this doesn't work. How about you make a list, right? Make a list. This is what I need to do to be prepared to be there. I can plan for a couple emergencies. I don't have to think about them all the time. If this happens, this is what I'm going to do. If I'm towing the trailer, I need to have a jack. I need to have a wrench. I need to have a spare tire, right? Those are the things I need to have. Do I need to have a jump box? Do I need to have a small portable air compressor? Little things like that. You're still doing it. So do it to yourself, right? What do I need to do every day to feel 100% before I leave this house? What do I need to do? If it's get up at 4 o'clock, shit, shower, shave, reverse planning one day at a time. You got that, T-Bone, right? You and I just talked the other day about that, right? Those are the things that we forgot. We planned so long for the bad, so long in our head every day, 24/7. That's what we're thinking of. The most extreme scenario that's going to happen. And am I prepared for it? It takes a little bit to change that thinking. You yourself last week even said that you spent 2 years in your garage, in your barn. You didn't want to leave the house because of what you knew you were capable of doing. It scared you. I think that happens to a lot of us. We know what we're capable of, and we're on edge, right? We're on edge for that, and we're constantly looking for the bad. The challenge is to look for that good. Look for that good, and good things will happen, right? You and I talked yesterday about how my son, at 18 or 19, grabbed me as we were walking. He just kind of grabbed my elbow right there and kind of jerked me around real quick. And he just goes, "Dad, nobody's trying to kill you, man. You're okay." And that did two things to me. One, it opened my eyes to what my children see. And number two, it let me know that I'm showing my kids something that I really don't think that they need to see. What am I teaching them? Right? What am I teaching them? Am I teaching them that I need to be on guard and look out and be ready to fight at the drop of a hat? Or am I teaching them that life happens? Right? Am I teaching them that how we respond to life's happenings is what makes us, right? That's where you have to think about what am I teaching my kid, man? Yeah, vapor lock. There it goes again. So I forgot to mention our partner. Got my little F4 mug here. Got my F4 hat. Feeling a little phantom fabulous with the PH today. Yeah, I want to talk about Saturday Java Company. We'll put their link up here. Make sure that you go visit them. Saturday Java Co. right there at the bottom. Check them out. They are a small batch. I don't know the words that they're using. Vapor lock again. They're a small batch coffee company out of New Jersey who donates a portion of their proceeds back to Save 22 to continue doing what we're doing. So kudos to Save Saturday Java Company. Thanks for the coffee. This is still Jason's blend. I haven't run out just yet, but you might want to send some more. Thank you for that. Saturday Java Company. Yeah, you know what, guys? That's about an hour that we talked. Really want to say thanks to Tyler and the IHRA for putting this event together this weekend. There are still about 10 2-pack tickets left. I had to request some more, so we've given out, or we will be giving out about 50 to 60 2-pack tickets for this weekend. Really hope you guys stop by and say hello. in the Lex June Never Quit Nitro Army Pit. We'll be there Thursday. I think we get in like Thursday afternoon. We'll be there racing, qualifying on Friday, eliminations and finals on Saturday, weather permitting. Should something happen, we might end up getting pushed to Sunday. Your ticket that you get from Safe 22 Motorsports at safe22.vet is good for all 4 days. It's a 4-day pass for two, simply by emailing motorsports at safe22.vet. Looking forward to talking to you all. Thank you for showing up today. T-Bone, you keep swinging, my friend. We're going to get you through this. You're going to be an awesome individual, more so than you are right now. You're a pet project. How's that, my friend? My friend, I love talking with you, man. I really do, in more ways than one. Not just for the stories, but for the brotherhood. So thanks for being there for me, right? Thank you for trusting me. Where's Whiskey Pete? Whiskey Pete said it was good. It was fun. Senior Chief with his awesome movie. Man, hey, I got to tell you all about Goat Locker real quick. Goat Locker is an iRacing nonprofit. They broadcast their races 7 nights a week, right? They're so busy with things that they are broadcasting their races 7 nights a week, 7 different classes. There's Cup, there's Truck, there's Xfinity. I think they have a late model. I think they started a Trans Am one. You really got to go check them out. Goatlocker.com. They're based out of Indiana. They provide sim rigs to disabled veterans who want to get into iRacing. We are working on a partnership for 2026 with Goat Locker to have an actual Safe 22 advocate inside of their leagues. Hopefully we can make that work. Those are just some talks going on in the background, and we'll see what happens. As far as 2026 goes, none of us know what's going to happen tomorrow. So we can just, we can plan as best we can, but nobody knows what's going to happen. So kudos to Goat Locker for all that they're accomplishing. I hope to have some big news and have them join us in the next couple of weeks with what their plan for 2026 is. Really, really proud of those guys over there at Goat Locker and all that they've done and accomplished and the lives that they've changed and impacted. And really good job, guys. Great job. One lap at a time. That is their motto. You know, every lap can be different. It doesn't matter how you get in the corner. It's how you get out of it, right? I don't care if you went too fast. I don't care if you missed the line. How are you going to come out of that corner, right? So kudos to Pat and the guys over there at Goat Locker. Let's see what else. Not a lot of comments today. That's okay. Not a lot of viewership. You know what? That's okay too, because this is available on YouTube and it'll be there forever. So to my wife and kids, hey, I love you. I'm proud of you. You know, please remember that I've never been this far in my life either. I've never been to this point as a dad. So I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to say things. I'm going to do things, and you're not going to like them. But guess what? We're all learning in this life, right? So let's give each other some grace and empathy on what they're going through. You never know what somebody might have going on in their head when you meet them. So meet them where they are, right? Spread a little love, spread a little happiness, and just let them know it's going to be okay. Live by your actions, right? Not your words. Live by your actions. So see you out there this weekend. Dragway 42, West Salem, Ohio, now known as Darana Dragway, West Salem, Ohio. I'll be there Thursday afternoon. I'll be heading home probably Saturday or Sunday, depending on what's going on. But hey, stop by, say hello, grab a picture, make a donation, say hi to Lex, say hello to the team. We want to make them guys very famous for what they do and how their never quit attitude is a great partnership with us here at Save 22. So that's about all I got. I'm going to see if I can do this outro that Josh created for me. And I'm going to see if I can't make it work. Of course, it's not going to work because I don't know what I'm doing. Ba-ba-dum. Let's see what we can do here. And we'll do this. And then we'll do. Oh, no. No, that didn't work. All right. Well, you know what? I'm just going to have to talk to y'all later. I had it planned. Now I lost it. The challenges of going live. So I know my mom's watching. So hi, Mom. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate you. Mom every morning on Tuesday, asking if I'm doing Tuesday Talk. So thanks. She's over there hanging out with her good friend Betty. So hello to Betty. I bet she looks as beautiful as ever at her ripe young age of. We love her. So thank you to Betty. Thank you to Mom. Thank you to everybody for joining today. And we're going to talk at you later. See you in probably next week. You know, the way things are going, we might just end up doing one next week too. So if you have an idea for Tuesday Talk, if you have a guest you'd like to come on, if you're a nonprofit and you're helping out the veteran, hit me up right there. Tuesday Talk at safe22.vet. I'd love to hear from you. Love to talk to you. If you can't get on that one, if you can't send it, whatever's going on, hit us up at safe22.vet. Say hello, sign up for the program, sign up for our stuff. Follow us on all your social medias at Safe22 Veterans. And we'll talk at you guys later. Thank you very much.